This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, in other programming languages like Java, in Scala also we have something called exception handling. Exception handling. First, try to understand what is exception, then we'll understand how to handle it. Okay, so what is an exception? As per the definition, exception is an event which occurs during the execution of the flow or execution of the program, which will interrupt the execution of the flow, and it will come out and throw an object. Simply says, exception is an event which occurs during the execution of the program or middle of the program, which actually stop and come out from the program, which actually stops your execution of the program and it will come out from the program, right? So let's see. Let me share my screen. Please let me know once you are able to see my screen. Please let me know once you are guys able to see my screen.
Yes, I'm able to see screen.
Yeah. So as I said, exception is an event which stops your program. It'll occur during the execution of the program. It'll identify some issue with the program. Either it can be syntax error, it can be logical error, it can be whatever it is. Then when it occurred that exception, when it occurred that issue or a problem with the code, then it will stop executing the program, it will come out. This whatever it will come out, right, we'll call exception object. Exception object. Let's see a simple example. Let's see a simple example. Look at here. I have a program which will print some 10 lines of high scala for a beautiful language to learn. Like that, I have a 12 statements are there. I have a 12 print statements are there. In between, some calculation is there, some simple calculation is there, and the calculation result I'm printing at the 30th line, 13th line. Okay, I have a 12 lines of println statement which will print saying hi Scala and you are a beautiful language to learn. I have 12 print statements. In between these 12 print statements, I have some calculation, and the calculated result will be printed at the last after printing all the Scala print statements. Look at here. I'm trying to run this program. When I run this program, after third print statement only we have some calculation, right? After third print statement, there is some problem with the calculation. Can anyone tell me what is the problem with the calculation? What problem it is?
Division by zero rule.
Yeah, we are trying to divisible by zero. We'll try to divisible by zero, which is not really a possible one. Trying to divide by zero is not really correct. For that, what it is saying, hey, you're trying to divide by zero, which is not correct. So it occurred the exception. That exception has been thrown. Thrown means the event is occurred. The event the issue is occurred here, the event is occurred, it will create an exception object. It will create an exception object. When I say it's an exception object, is that the event occurred, right? Whether it's a calculation problem, or it means arithmetic problem, or is it a null problem, or is it a file reading problem, or is SQL execution problem, or any other problem, okay? Or you're trying to access a array which does not have element. So these kind of different categories of exceptions are there. I mean, I cannot say different categories. I can say different classes, different exception categories are there. Yeah, I can call it as a categories, right? So when this occurred, right, it will create an object for those categories. Arithmetic, it created arithmetic exception object. So I'm trying to do arithmetic operations, which is wrong operation. Then what it does immediately, it created an object for that. It's called exception object. It created an object for that, and it is thrown. Thrown is nothing but it reported to JVM, saying that this error. Then the JVM is uh, returned to the console saying that this is the problem. So now you look at here, after this problem occurred, after this problem, did it printed the line number 4 and print 4, 5, 6 and other stuff? It didn't continue the program. Since this problem is occurred, it didn't continue the program. It will stop the program, it will come out. You stop the program, it will came out. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, it came out. Yeah.
So this is called an exception. This is called an exception. How to handle this exception? How to handle this exception? Any guesses?
Ravi, we can put if we do it as Java, we can put this statement and put some exceptional and try catch.
Okay. To handle this exception, we have something like, let's say I am assuming there is a problem can occur here. So what I will do, I will keep that into some monitoring area. I'll keep some monitoring on that. Okay, it means monitoring means I'll try to keep this into a special block. That special block is called try catch block. Let me show you that. Look at here, whatever I'm assuming, whatever I'm expecting there will be a problem, it comes, I kept in a special block or a monitoring area. When the issue occur, it will try execute it. If any problem occurs, it will get catch. After catching that, based on the type of exception it is, based on type of exception it is, it will what it does, like it will directly go respect to case, what type of case it is, whether it's arithmetic or they say what type of exception it is, it will just go ahead and execute that block, then it will continue the program. Let's see. You see, actually it happened at the line number 3 only, but while printing in the console it just printed like this. Okay, don't get think it has occurred at the line number 1. You can clearly see where it has executed, where it has occurred the exception. It clearly shows that. So the file name and the line number, it will clearly show this. So when you're analyzing your program, suppose that there is an exception happening while you're executing your job or a program, while you're going through your exception message, you can try to look for this line. So it will clearly shows that your class name is your class name and the line number, both it will show. Okay, so exceptions occur at the line number 11 only. Okay, but while printing in the console, it has mixed like this. Okay, so don't get confused. So it is the problem is occur after right after the line 1. No, it is the problem is actually occurred after the line number 3 only, but printing is printed like this. Okay, then even though the exception is occurred, the program is the execution is not stopped. The execution is not stopped. So continued the execution, it completed the execution. So you can see here. So what happened here? What happened here? When the exception is occurred, when the exception is occurred, we try to we try to uh, print some block of information, right? There is something called finally block. Finally, finally block is a block which will be used to clear the resources, close the resources or connections or something. The finally block, see, try block is always executes, right? It will try to execute the code. The catch block may occur, may not occur, may execute or may not execute. I can let me put in this way. If the exception object is created here, the exception object is created, then your catch block will execute. Then your catch block will execute, right? Yes or no, guys? The catch block when it will get execute whenever the problem occurs. Whenever the problem occurs, then only the catch block will get executed. If there is no problem, the catch block will not be executed. The catch block will not be executed. Yes or no? Right? But there is something called finally. But there is something called finally. It always work. It always execute. It always execute. It always executes. It always executes. So irrespective of whether exception is occurred or not, irrespective of whether the exception is occurred or not, our finally block will get execute. You guys get my point? What I'm trying to say? The catch block will get executed only when exception is occurred in the try. The catch block will get executed when there is a problem occurred in the try. But finally will execute always, no matter whether the problem is occurred or not. No matter whether the problem is occur or not. So even there is no problem, our finally block will get executed. Our finally block will get executed. Let me show you that also. Even there is no problem, still your finally block will get executed. Still your final block will get executed. Earlier also it get executed, now also it get executed. So it means the finally is the one a block will always executes. So that kind of block will use to clear the resources. Like let's say I have opened some files, or I have created some connections, or I'm trying to access some resources. So if any problem is occurred, you really don't need to have those connections like a database connections or files are opened or some connection socket connections are created. So you really not require them when your a problem is occurred. So what you can do, you can just close them in the finally block. Finally block is actually used for such kind of purpose. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yes, no?
Yeah, yeah, Ravi. Ravi,
Yes,
in
go ahead.
this line number 15, there is Ravi dot print stack trace. What does this function, this method do?
Okay. Okay. No, I was trying to explain him. Normally we'll keep some like this. So it is a variable, right? How will you declare a variable? A
Mm-hmm.
variable name and a database type of name, correct? What type it is? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I want to create employee. What you will do?
Yeah, yeah.
Ravi colon employee equal to new employee, like that you will create, correct? Here, if any
Mm-hmm. But
exception is thrown,
we
let's
have
say
lambda.
exception is thrown. Yeah, I'll come to that. Here, what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
say, if any exceptions occurred here, any exception, okay, say remove
Mm-hmm.
this, then it is an exception. So when it throw, that is a type of exception. That's a type of exception, not null pointer, not arithmetic, not array index, or not something else. Correct?
Yeah.
It is exception. It is the type of that error, the type of the event is whatever the event occurs at the line number 11. That is the exception type. Exception type.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you what is exception. This exception is a class. This exception is a class. Look at here. It's an exception is a class, Java class. Okay. So you can see here the different
Mm-hmm.
types are there. Runtime exception, null pointer exception, class cast exception, index out of bound exception, array index out of bound exception, string index out of bound exception, unsupported operation, illegal argument, no such. So there are different kind of different types of exceptions are there, right? There are different type of
Mm-hmm.
exceptions. So it when you take these things, let's say let me take a null pointer, okay? I'll go with a null pointer. I just want to show the source code of the null pointer. It is Java lang. It comes from the Java lang. 1 second. Showing usage of it. I can show you one thing. Let me go to API. Java API. Could you please keep yourself mute? There is some, I think, fan or some disturbance. Okay. Let's take an API. API is, what is API? API, Application Programming
Application
Interface.
programming interface. Yeah.
Yeah, this application programming interface, what it does, it gives you the set of methods and classes or interfaces which are supported to that programming language. So more we'll call it as API in this kind of frameworks. Normally, it is a reference, or I can say it's a help or something. Okay. So since we are talking about null pointer exception, correct? So we need to go to java.lang package. This is java.lang. In this java.lang, the class is, we are talking about null pointer exception, right? Uh, Let me go to null pointer exception. When I click on this null pointer exception, this is a one class. Look at here. This is the class. This class, you see the hierarchy? Try to remember, guys. This is a hierarchy. It means null pointer is a child. Its parent is runtime. The runtime parent is exception. The exception parent is throwable. The throwable's parent is object. Object is the top level class in Java. Object is the top level class in Java, no matter it is what class you take. You take any class from this. You take any class from this. Let's take a assertion error. I'm taking. Okay, assertion error. What is the top level class? Object. You take any class in Java, that is object is a top level class in all the classes in Java. All the classes in Java. Okay. So here we are talking about null pointer exception. Null pointer parent who is runtime. Runtime's parent is exception. Exception's parent is throwable. Throwable's parent is Java. I mean, which is called object, right? So this this null pointer exception, when it will occur, what kind of cases it will occur, all those stuff will be there, and it has its own constructors. Suppose I want to create my own null pointer exception. I want to specify my own message, like here. This is my null pointer exception, right? Here I want to say, not this one. I want to say somewhere here. Okay, somewhere here. Throw new null pointer exception. I'm creating an object. When I say new, it means I'm creating an object. Yes or no, guys? When I say new, I'm creating an object. What type of object? Exception object I'm creating. So here I'll pass some message. Some message I'll pass. Okay, this is, it means I'm creating an object for this. So you can find that here. This type of this type of constructor it is. Or this type of constructor. So you have a different type of constructors, and also it has, it's a null pointer constructor details. Okay. So what I'm trying to explain here, you have a different types of exceptions. Yes or no? You have different type of exceptions. In that, exception is the parent to all the exceptions. You can see this. Exception is the parent to all the exceptions. You take any exceptions. Let's take an arithmetic exception. Let's take an arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception, a runtime exception, and exception. Who is parent for all the exceptions? Exception. Exception is the parent. For him, throwable. For him, object. The hierarchy, exception is one class. Exception is one class. That's what I'm trying to say. If I click on exception, look at here. Exception is one class. Okay. It has a subclasses. It has its own subclasses. Those subclasses are these many. These many subclasses are there. These many subclasses are there for exception. It means exception is the parent to all the exceptions. Exception is the parent. Exception class is the parent to all the exceptions. You guys understand what I'm trying to say? So here, what I'm trying to do, whenever a problem occur, you can catch them with respect to type. Is it arithmetic type? Is it a null pointer type? Is it something else? We can catch them with respect to type. We can catch them with respect to type. Let's say I'll keep this at the bottom. I'll keep this at bottom here. Okay. Now if I execute the program, you see it will print arithmetic. It will print it arithmetic. It means it reached to respect to type. That object, whatever the object is created here, it is reached to respect to type. The respect to type is catched. The respect to type is catched that object. Then that block get executed. I just commented the cause, message, and text trace, and all those things also you can print. You can print what is the cause of the problem, what is the cause message, and what is the stack, from where it get called. First main method is called, then some, if you have any other method, that is called. If you have other method, it will call. So the stack will show. The stack, do you guys remember when we are discussing about recursion? I shown the stack, first main method, then another method, then another method, like that. The stack will show here. Let's look at that also. There's a stack trace means that is a stack. It will show the stack. Okay. So here there is no stack actually. It will just call main method. In the main method only we got the problem. So look at here, arithmetic. There is no cause. So get cause is actually printed in null, and get message. Correct only, no. Uh, null. It doesn't have the specific cause. And message is divide by 0, and the stack trace is this is the stack trace is this is this part get printed from here, this area. So now you ask me what is this A, Ravi, and all those things, right? So Ravi, A, and X, or whatever I keep here, that's a variable type of exception type. It's something like I'm creating an object. There is something like I'm creating an object. That object is referring this type. It may, if any exception occur this type of reference. If it is arithmetic exception, go inside and take care of this. If it is a null point exception, go inside and take care of this. And if it is a, you don't know what type of exception it is. Let's say you don't know what type of exception it is. You don't know whether it's arithmetic, whether it's a file, whether it's SQL, whether it's an array, or whether it's index or interrupted. You don't know what type of exception it is. So simply just go ahead and remove all of them. Just go ahead and remove all of them and just keep exception. That also works, because exception is the parent to all the exceptions. That's the inheritance is telling to us, right? That is the inheritance is telling to us. The parent can hold any type of object. Sorry, the parent can hold any type of child object. The parent can hold, the parent can refer any type of object. Yes or no, guys? That's what we have seen in the dynamic polymorphism in yesterday's session or day before yesterday. That's what we have seen in inheritance also. The parent employee can refer developer, employee can refer tester. You guys remember this concept? Yes or no, guys? When we discussed about inheritance, I have shown this one. Yes, no. I just want to understand whether you guys are able to recollect or not.
Yeah.
So employee, I have employee. I have a developer child. I have a tester child. Where is the tester? Yeah, tester child. So when I'm creating an object, I can create like this. I have shown this one, no? Your employee is a parent, developer is a child. So it means your employee reference can hold child object. Employee can hold child object. Are you guys getting? So the same concept here also. Exception is the parent to all the exceptions. So he can hold. He can refer, instead of hold I can say he can refer any type of exception. He can refer any type of exception. If you don't want to write a plain exception, you can go ahead and write a specific exception. Then why I have written case? So pattern matching. I'm trying to match the pattern. So here, if it is throws arithmetic exception, I'm trying to match with the arithmetic. If it is throws a null pointer, I try to match with a null pointer. If it is throws array, I will try to match with array. So like that, I'm matching. That's the reason we write a case. That's right. That is the reason we write a case. I hope you guys are able to follow. If you are not able to follow, please ask me the question. I'll try to explain in a different way. It's very simple, guys. A problem is occurred, the problem is getting catched here. So if you know what type of problem it is, you are referring to that type of problem. If you don't know what
Why
type of problem it
lambda
is,
we are using?
just to, sorry,
The lambda
sorry,
operator.
uh,
Case x is equal to
yeah,
null pointer then lambda.
yeah, lambda, it's a rocket, or lambda you can call it as. So the problem,
Yeah,
the
rocket.
the
Yeah.
reason behind using it is, the reason behind duty, if this problem is occurred, if you want to write some information, If you want to write some information, some block of code, suppose I got arithmetic exception, I don't want to leave as is. I got some arithmetic exception,
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
want to leave as is. I want to do some operation.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a
Mm-hmm.
arithmetic exception, do some operation. If it is a null exception, do some operation. So that operation will keep in the block. To refer that we use lambda. To refer that we use rocket. We'll call rocket or lambda, whatever you call. Is this clear to everyone? Is this clear to everyone? Please let me know if you're not. Please let me know if you're not clear. Venkat,
Yeah,
Mohan.
Ravi, it's clear.
Okay. So this is called exception handling. If you write a try catch block, final is the option. Okay, it doesn't mean that always you have to write a final. No, whether you write it or not, no matter. But if you write a try, you should have a catch. If I say no, I will not write a catch block. Go ahead, whatever you wanted to do. So then it will say, oh, try also there without a catch. No, guys, how come? The Scala supports that. No, try should be there. I think it's supporting. Yeah, actually it is supporting in the sense it is not handling the object. I mean, it's not handling. It is not handling your exception. Generally, it's considering there is no exception. I mean, there is no exception handling. But in Java, yeah, I'm surprised. 1 second. If we go to the Java example, let's say exception, try catch demo. I go here, I should have at least finally or try. See, the catch are finally expected. The catch are finally expected. It should be there. The catch or finally should be there. Otherwise, it will not. Sorry, either you can keep a finally or you can keep this one. That's what the Java says. But I'm really surprised. Let me try remove all of them. It is considering it's like an arm statement. It is not considering as an exception handling. It is not considering as exception handling. That's the reason it's allowing. That's the reason it is allowing. Yeah, but keep in mind that don't write try alone. When you write a try, there should be catch also. But it's not giving any error, but it is not handling also. It's not giving any error. It's not handling also. Okay. So if you don't want to write catches, you don't want to write a catches like this, you can write finally. You can write finally. Okay, let's do one thing. Just execute this. Here also exception didn't handle, but the final block is direct execution. If you want to handle the exception, you have to write a catch block. You have to write catch block. And one more thing I want to show you here. I think I have shown sometime last time. Suppose you have modified your source file. I mean, we'll call it as a source file, right? You have modified your file, and you forget what change you made. You forgot what change you made, and you want to revert the code. You want to revert the code to the before change. You want to revert to the code to the before change. What you can do? Right click, local history. Your IntelliJ will maintain the history of the file, how many times you modify. Okay, it will maintain the internal history. So you can select when you change the code. You select that. What it will also shows that when you change, and sometimes it will show the date also. So look at here, 16/6/2020, like that. It will shows the date also. So that time you can click. When you click on that respective time frame, it will shows that it is a old file, it is a current file. You can see here, it's a current, it's a older file. So you can choose whichever the file or whichever the change you want, and you can just click on this arrow. This arrow means accept the changes, so it will just come here. Or if you want to specifically select one by one, you can select one by one also. You can select specifically one by one. You can select one by one also. Okay, this is to see your local history of a file. So how many changes you made, or what are the changes you made, and how it is different from the previous file or previous version of the file, and how we want to revert it. Okay. Okay. Any questions on exception handling? Any questions? Try, catch, finally. There should be programming coding standards. Yes, these three should be there. So suppose finally is an optional, because whether there is a whether you may want, or may not want, like close the resources. Okay, but if you have a resources, like if you have open what I can say, mm, the file you have open, or connected to database, you connected to some kind of socket. So but when we have to close it, irrespective of whether the exceptions occurred or whether exception is not occurred, we have to close them. After our work is completed, we have to close them. Otherwise they will be lying on they will be open and lying on while execution, right? Those objects will be lying on the heap, right? So if you close them, the garbage collector will clean. If you close them, the connections will be get closed, and garbage collector will remove it. So that's the reason we need to always we need to always clean those things. Any questions? Any questions?
Not really.
Okay, let's move on to the next example. So now you guys saw the difference without exception handling, with the exception handling. So the advantage of handling exception, we can throw our own message, we can handle it. Okay, even though the problem is occurred, don't worry, don't stop the program, just continue. So when you want to say that, we have to do the handle exceptions. Okay, let's see the try catch demo. Try catch demo. Yeah, that's what even it allows. So when you try to do the try, there should be a specific catch, which I already have explained here, like this. You can have a finally also. So you should have a catch. The catch also, if you want to specific exception, if you want to throw, or if you are not aware, there is a possibility null point exception can occur. There is a possibility array index can occur. There is a possibility file not found. So such kind of, if you are worry about it, so as I shown earlier, you can keep any one of the type. Number format, suppose you are assuming, okay, you are trying to access a number which is not actually number, uh, it's a string or something. So such kind of exceptions you can throw here, and they will be catched. You can clearly mention them. Okay, that's will mention in the form of case. And these are, you can keep anything, it's x, a, your name, or e, or whatever it is. That's just a variable, that's just a object you are creating, reference object you are creating. Okay, inside that, if you want to print the cause of the problem, if you want to print the message of the problem, if you want to print the stack of the problem, yes, you can print them as well. Normally what we will do in the real time, we will log, we'll use the logger. There is something called log4j or log sl4j. There is a different kind of sl4j are there. So we will use those loggers, logger factory, and we'll create a logs, and we will throw those logs. I'll also show you on logging, how we will log, how we will create a log, and all those things I'll show on time. Okay, and you can have one try, you can have multiple catches. So as I explaining earlier, try inside the try you can have, catch inside the try you can have. So you can have a nested try catches. Okay, inside the try you can have one more try. Inside the finally you can have one more try. Even inside the finally also you can have one more try. Or inside the catch also you can have a this thing. So you can have like that any number of the combination. Nested try catch also is allowed. In Java, I'm just comparing with Java. So in Java, if I write this catch, look at here. Um, just completed here. Just completed. Started here, ended here. So I have shown exception, right? So like this, I can have any number of exceptions. Here also I can have any number of catches. I can have any number of exceptions. So I suppose if I write null pointer exception like this, null pointer exception. Let's say I'll say NE. If I write arithmetic exception, I'll say AE. If I write interrupted exception, interrupted exception, or if I say SQL exception, or class not found exception, number format I'll write. Okay, number format exception. Okay, okay. If I write like this, look at here. These are all showing error. Why they are all showing error? Can you see the error message? Exception java dot lang dot null point exception has already been caught. Already been caught. It means it is not reaching to the childs because the parent is already caught. A parent already is pulled it. So that's the reason in the when you're writing the catches. So first we'll keep the childs first, then parent, then parent. Why? Because if you keep the parent first like this, if you keep the parent first, parent can handle it. No, parent can handle it. It never reach to the childs. It never reach. As we discussed earlier, as a inheritance concept, parent can easily handle any child object, right? That's the reason the order is important in the Java. Like first you have to keep parent, first you have to keep child at last parent. If none of them, the parent. None of them is handled, then it has to be parent. This chaining, this chain will call multiple exception handles. This is important. But in Scala, it is not actually throwing that problem. It is not actually throwing that problem, but it never reaches to the childs. See, if I keep this case, if I keep this case here, it never reached to the child. It never come down. Never come down. There is no point writing them. There is no point writing them. If it is arithmetic exception, exception can hold. I mean, can handle. If it is a null point exception, that can handle. It's interrupted, that can handle. Arithmetic, it can handle. So when it is able to handle the parent, it never come to the child, right? So parent itself will protect. It will not allow to childs. So be careful while you are writing. The, if you want to throw a specific exception, specific arithmetic, also execute only arithmetic, null point and null. So keep them first, the parent at last. Parent at last. That's the reason if I'm trying to execute this code, always it is going to Ravi only. Look at here. I mean, Ravi means this block. Let me put a print statement to make it very clear. I am from exception block. It always executes the exception block only. It never come down. It never come down. Never come down. Don't allow. No matter whether you're throwing arithmetic or you're throwing a null pointer, it never come. Okay. So if you keep this at last, if you keep at this last, then there is a possibility, if these are not able to handle, then it will come to the parent. Or if they are able to handle, they will get their respective block of code will execute. But now it will show arithmetic. Because he is able to handle. Are you guys getting the order also? Is this clear, guys?
Yeah, Ravi. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we need to understand, uh, uh, how how the try catches will work and what is the order. We can have a nested try catches, how to handle that also we discussed. Okay. And next one, there is something called throw and throws. Try to look at the throw and throws. Okay, I'll just let me close others. Stop. Close this. Close this. Let it be this. We'll talk about that later. Inheritance also I don't make it. I'll close it. Throw. See, throw is when you are throwing an exception. See, by default, what happened whenever an event is occurred, which is identified by the JVM, JVM felt that, hey, this is not illegal statement. This is illegal statement. Dividing by 0 is not correct. It's the illegal statement. So then call arithmetic and throw an arithmetic exception. So what JVM will does, if it identify any illegal operation, it try to find that what type of operation it is, respect to class it will call, and it will create an object and throw. That's what the JVM does. That was the JVM does. Suppose if you want to throw your own exception, you want to say your own way. So the programmer want to throw, not the JVM, on a specific operation, on a specific condition, when a programmer want to create an object and throw, that's where we'll create our own exception. Throw. It means we are throwing it, not the JVM. When you throw, it's handles by JVM. That's a different story. So it identifying the line will get executed, and it is line number 19 will get executed by JVM only. It is throwing JVM only, but you have written the throw statement. You have written JVM didn't identify and throw. You have written the statement. It means, see, very simple. I'll say, guys. Age is less than 18 years. There is age. It's less than 18 years. Is illegal statement to the code? Normally, don't look at this program. Normally, having an age less than 18 years is illegal statement.
No.
Dividing by zero is the illegal statement or not?
Yeah.
And I have a string called null. I'm trying to do the operations on the null. It's illegal. Null pointer exception. I have array of 5 elements. I have my array size is 5 elements, but I'm trying to access the 10th element. I have an array of 5 elements. I'm trying to access the 10th element. It's illegal. So these kind of illegal statements, if JVM identifies, it creates the object and throw. But based on your logic, based on your program requirement, if you are identifying some condition, then you can throw. You are throwing an exception. You created exception object. You can throw a message also here. You can also have a message also here. Exception occurred due to um, less age or minor or whatever it is. Okay, you just specify something. Or you, without message also you can throw. That's how the constructor allows. That's how the constructor allows. If you remember here, that's how the constructor allows. Suppose if you throw arithmetic exception has its own way of constructor. Actually, two constructions only will be there. One is a message and one is empty. Actually, there is one more. You can write your own message. You can throw message and a cause also. You can throw message and cause also. You can do that. Okay. You can have one more constructor with the two parameter, but here only one parameter. That's how. Look at here. You look at here. This is what I was talking about. Look at here. Only message and cause. Message, cause, and suppressible or not. Some other parameters. Okay, different constructors actually. Different constructors. Okay, so that we'll discuss later. You guys understand now what is the throw? You understand what is the throw? Meaning of the throw? Throwing an exception. When you want to explicitly throw exception. Explicitly, it is not internal. You are explicitly or throwing. It's not implicitly. So you are explicitly or throwing it. Then when you throw, what will happen? Let's say this is my method, validate age. I'm throwing an exception. This exception object will be get created. Try to understand the flow, guys. Okay, this object will be created. Then where this method is get called? This method is get called from where? Main method. It will go to the main method. It will go to the main method, and if that method is there in the monitoring area, like a try catch, that will get handled. If it is not in the monitor area, it will give to the JVM. Let me show you without monitoring area first. Without monitoring area, then we'll see with the monitoring area. 13. I'm passing age 13. Try to look at here. I'm passing age 13. So when you pass age 13, look at here, exception thread. Exception occurred due to minor, less age or something instead of minor, let's say less age. Age is less than 18. Let's say due to age less than 18. Just write that message. So whatever the message you write, that will print here, nothing else. Okay. So occurred due to age is less than 18 years. So this is a stack, guys. Okay, this is the stack. This is called stack. In main method get called. Look at the main method. Main method get called. So in the main method, line number 12. What happened to line number 12? Another method is get called. Another method is get called. Then line number 19. Line number 19. The actual problem is occurred. The problem is occurred. This is called stack trace. Stack trace. It's a stack of methods. No, first main method. So in that later validate method. So later definition of the method, line number 12. A method calling at the line number 12. The definition is line number 19. The actual exception is thrown at the line number 19. So that is when you don't handle it. Whenever the callee or whoever is called the program, when he don't handle it. Let's say if he is handled it, try catch. If he's handle it, then you know that what will happen if you handle it. You know that what will happen, right? Let's say I'm passing age is 17 years. So the problem is get handled. Look at here. You can see that output. How was the before output and how is the now output? It's not close the program. It is not stop the program. It came. So not eligible for vote. Not eligible for the vote. Let's say age 17 years is not really good age to vote. So then after that exception occurs, you have some other code to execute. That's also getting after the call to validate age method. So it means you handle the exception. And continuing the program. You're not stopping the program. This is what I'm trying to say. The advantage of exception handling is you are actually not stopping the program. Even though the problem occurs, you are not stopping the program. You are continuing with your execution flow. This is about throw. Everyone is clear about the throw? Throw means you are throwing an exception, guys. That's it. When you want explicitly throw an exception, you will write throw, right? Throw, and that will be handled by either you, which you are writing try catch, or you can just hand it over to the JVM. The JVM will take care of it. The JVM will take care of it. This is clear? Is this clear? Please tell me if it is not clear. I'll explain again. Next is throws. Throws looks similar, but is not exactly similar. Throw is we're throwing explicitly, and someone has to be handled it. Someone has to catch it, and someone has to be handled it. But here throws, when you really do not want to handle it, or when you are expecting there is a problem can throw from this piece of code, you can write throws. So what it does, it provides some information to your caller or JVM, whoever is executing the function, saying that there is a possibility this method, that piece of code, can throw an exception. You can see the line number 19 to this. When you say throws, it means you are providing information. There is a possibility this method can throw an exception. Better please handle it. Suppose I'm trying to call this method. Let me show you. Let's say let me do one thing. Let me write one new code test. Okay, I already have test looks. Yeah, throws test. Look at here. It's a throws test only. Throws test means here. Okay. Look at here. I'm writing throw, or else I can write one more class, which is object throws demo. Okay, throws demo already there. Okay, throws demo test. Okay, here I will have a main method. In this main method, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just val th exception. Okay, th colon. It is a throws demo. It's a throws demo type object is equal to new throws demo object. I'm creating throws demo object. Actually, it is throws demo. See, it is not a class. Actually, it is an object. Okay. So what I can do here is throws demo test. It's not actually a class. So that's the reason. Let me do one thing. Validate throws demo dot validate age. I'm trying to call from here. So when I'm trying to call this method actually throw an exception. So it means whoever is calling this, they have to handle it in the monitoring area. If they don't want to handle, also it's fine. Still, it's fine. If they don't want to handle it, still it's fine. Look at here. Let me keep this one here. let me allow this here. If I execute the program with the 17, let's see what will happen. It is thrown. It is thrown the exception. Nothing happened actually. JVM will handle it. Whether you handle it or not, no problem. JVM will handle it. Okay. So when the problems occurred, this statement didn't execute. These two statements are not executed. But if you handle it, the advantage of it, if you handle it, the output of execution will be different. The output of execution will be different. Not eligible for vote, and after the call of the, so that's a throws. You're telling to, you're providing extra information about the method or piece of code, saying that there is a possibility it will throw an exception. If any issue occur, it will throw an exception. Throw, you are explicitly throwing an exception. Throw, you're explicitly throwing an exception, nothing else. That's the difference between those two. People may ask in interview, what is the difference between the throw and throws? Okay, tomorrow we'll discuss about the custom exception, then we will start collections, and I'll see if anything I miss. I'll try to combine them. So tomorrow we'll see custom exception. I don't want these exceptions, whatever it is given here by default. I don't want them. I want to have my own exceptions. Then we'll go with the, I don't want to these exceptions. I want my own exception. Let's say I'm doing a bank transaction. So I want to say withdrawal exception. I want to say withdrawal exception, or I want to say deposit exception, or I want to say specific exception to my application, then we will go ahead and write custom exceptions. Custom means our own, which is not exist in the system. Okay, any questions, guys? Any questions? Okay, if no questions, we'll wind up here and we'll connect in the next session. Okay, thank you guys, thanks for your time, have a wonderful day. We'll connect in the next session.
Thanks, Avi.
Thank you guys, bye.
And